All right. So while you're doing that, for those of you that are coming in, we're basically going to be looking at how to source for inspiration while trying to come up with your designs, right? So Amaka will be talking about some of that. She would also give a couple of resources on how to go about gathering inspiration for your next design project. When she's done with that, I would, on my part, I would teach you the basics of FigJam. I will teach you how to use FigJam, various parts of FigJam, and how various teams use FigJam. And then I would also go ahead to give an introduction to wireframing. Before the next session, we'll then have a video or a class where we'll teach you how to wireframe with an example. Amaka, are you good to go?
Okay, yes, I'm good to go. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Oh, okay, all right. As designers, we are meant to be very creative in that we have to feel that okay, this is what would work at this point, and this is what we'll have to do at this point. And there are times we have this, should I say, design block, where you're looking at something or you're looking at a particular problem or a particular problem, and you don't know, nothing comes to your mind at that point about what to design or where to start from. Maybe you already have let's say you have done your research, you have done everything, you have done your research, you have done your interviews, you've carried out your surveys, and then you want to start working on your wireframe and all of that. And then you have this block because in your mind, you don't know, at that point, you don't know what to follow or which pattern to follow, despite the fact that you have carried out your research. And so to help you out when you get to this block, we have different websites that help you out, or where you can draw your inspiration from to get what you want. Now, as earlier stated in your first class, you learned that as designers, you are meant to still like an artist. So when you still like an artist, that means you gather inspiration from different parts. So that will now move me to talk about mood boards. Now, mood boards are visual representation of college or screens of images, text about what you want to design. Now, before you start designing, you have to ask yourself, okay, so this is, let's say we're designing an e-commerce site. This is an e-commerce site. I want to design a e-commerce website, but then where do I start from? So you have to gather your mood boards together, and that is when this website you're seeing on my screen, that's when all this comes to play, because now you have to go out and search. So I'll be starting today with mobbing. So what happens on mobbing is it saves you time, actually, saves you hours of research and design. You can see, like, looking at the sites on its own, you can see the Twitter, you can see Clubhouse, you have LinkedIn. So first things first is, for this, you can choose to log in, have an account here and just log in. So, okay, I think I am logged in. Okay, no, I'm not yet logged in. So once you log in, you can start browsing for anything you want. Whatever you feel, they have a collection. Okay, they require me to log in. I'll just do that. So you can log into your account here and start browsing through your collections. You can choose to find any app. There are filter categories where we have navigation, business, education, whatever field you are going to have to design and you need inspiration for that, just come here and search for it. Say education, you go through it and find the particular apps that appeal to you or the design that appeals to you. Now your mood board can be made up of different screens from different designs. As far as, okay, you're designing for an e-commerce site, so when you get to e-commerce, you just start picking out the different e-commerce mobile design that you need, and then just take a screenshot, gather it. You can create a mood board in your Figma file or your Adobe file. That would help out, because at the end of the day, when you go back to your mood board, you are able to pick out what you want and then you can start making out your framework. We also have patterns. So all these links, I will drop them for you in the chat room, and I will also drop them on Discord so that you can go through it later on. Then we also have Dribble. Now I know a lot of you would have come across Dribble. Dribble is like Dribble and Behance. It's like the major stop for every UI UX designer, and there's so much you can get on Dribble. And I know if you have always been on Dribble, you should have noticed that Dribble just did a redesign of what their website looked like, because they didn't have this header page. Unlike Mobins deals basically with mobile designs, while on Dribble you can see both mobile and website design. And aside from just mobile and website design, it's more of Dribble covers a whole lot of things, both for graphic designers, visual designers, product design, print, branding, and all of that. So you can find them here. So whatever you just want to design, all you have to do, what I talked about, I will say we're designing for an e-commerce. So if we're designing for an e-commerce, and let's say we're looking for a landing page, and we search here on Dribble, this is e-commerce. I can pick as many as I want, but there's something I would like to state. As designers, there's this tendency to want to, okay, you're gathering your inspiration, you're trying to make up a mood board before you start out your wireframe. So once you start going through these different sites for inspiration, there's a tendency for you to have over 20 to 30 different images that you have taken a screenshot of, because your mind is okay, let me keep snapping. I like this, I like this, I like this. But in as much as possible, try to limit how many screens to make up your mood board. Now, what works for me might not work for you, so there's this different. But just try to make sure that, okay, since this is what I'm designing, maybe I can take as much as 20 screens, or I can take as much as 10 screenshots. But then it's all up to you. Just pick what will work for you at that point. And then there's also something to note about. Now we have different designs on Dribble, and not every design you see on Dribble applies to the real world. But what Dribble helps you do is, even though it doesn't apply to the real world, when you pick up a design, you're allowed to modify it. That's why you're designers. You're allowed to, okay, this is what I've picked. I don't like the way this is. Let me edit. So at the end of the day, you end up stealing like an artist. And by the time you are done mixing, maybe your mood board was made up of about, say, 10 screens or more. By the time you're done mixing the different parts or different elements and components from your mood board to make up your design. We also have, I think this is Foxy app. It's also for mobile apps. So any app you want, any screen you want. Then there's this particular one I would share. If you have questions so far, you can drop your questions in the chat room and I will pick them up. Then this last one is Design Vault. Now, Design Vault is another collection for mobile apps, that is Android and iPhones. Now, what they do here is they bring out all the screens you need. Say, okay, I have here opened, this is Clubhouse. You want to redesign Clubhouse, or you're planning to redesign a particular mobile app. Now, so you don't have to go through the stress of looking at the app and telling yourself, okay, it has this screen, it has that screen, it has this different. You don't have to start bringing out the different frames. What Design Vault does for you is all frames, all the screens that make up that particular app you want to design are already listed here. So this is for Clubhouse. Every screen we have their welcome screen, enter phone number, verification, the pop-ups. Every screen that made up Clubhouse is here. I think we also have I saw there's also there are a lot here. So you can search based on apps, and then you can search based on patterns. It's then left for you to design what to search for what you want. So if you're searching based on patterns, what they do is they show you the different elements and tokens and components. So here we have I think yes, it's listed. We have the navigation, the onboarding, the social, the states, the gamification, the commerce. So since I was talking about me designing for an e-commerce and we're here, let's see what they gave us here for payment inputs. These are just 3 screens. Here they give you the scan option, then the add new card. And let's see the other options they give for web app. So they more or less just show you the different patterns or the different ways you can design these different UI tokens and how you can use them to form components and get your apps.
So when you join a call like this, just ensure you mute yourself and ensure you don't distract others by drawing on the screen. We probably would have to disable that because I think people are just so curious that they want to try out different options. The session is recorded, of course, right? So if you joined late, you would also get the recording. But next time you try to join early. Um, all right, so Amaka, I think sorry about that, please.
All right, no problem. So as I was saying, as designers, there's this tendency to I don't want to look at what other people have designed. I want to design on my own or I want to bring out my own special idea. The thing is, people are able to flow with what they are used to. So you don't come out and say, okay, this is how this one is being designed. I want to design my own. No, you look at what other people are designing. What you do basically is you can make changes to every design you see because every design you have come across are built on other people's on previous design. But what was done is that each design is being improved on. That's why by the time you're searching for inspirations and you visit mobile, pattern, dribble, or design vault, you get to see that looking at every design or the different designs that have been dropped on this site, they have something similar about themselves, but it's just that each person just made an adjustment or certain things were changed according to how they feel it should work, but they necessarily didn't have to change the pattern or do something.
All right. So yeah, sorry about that. I had to, like to clutter my screen. Okay. So what we're seeing here basically is, your regular Figma environment, right? And yeah, so in order to create a new FigJam file, you have to click on the new FigJam file. Basically, you might be asking, so what is FigJam, right? Yeah. So FigJam is the whiteboard or diagramming tool, embedded into Figma, and basically you see teams use the FigJam file for collaboration and brainstorming sessions. They use it to have brainstorming sessions similar to what you would do in a application like Miro, which we'll be explaining how to use shortly too. But I think the nice part about working with FigJam is that it's embedded into your design tool, so you can do everything within the same environment, right? So Amaka made mention of creating mood boards. Mood boards, you can also do that right inside the Figma file. But I think it's better when you have it here because you can decide to collaborate with outsiders or external guests. Maybe like you can have the client on the FigJam file, brainstorming and collaborating with the client. You can even bring in other people to that file without giving them any access to your Figma file, which is your work your work file. Okay, so I'm going to click on this to create a new FigJam file. All right. So this is currently what FigJam looks like. We have a bunch of parts around here, but I would first close it. This is the template section, and the idea is you probably want to make use of one of these options because a lot of people are already using this, and the Figma team are also creating a bunch of templates that you can start off with, without having to start from scratch. So, assuming you're trying to come up with a user journey map, which is basically how users would navigate across your application or your website, this can be a very useful template, and we might check it out very soon. But yeah, you get the idea. So these templates are grouped. So we have brainstorming, templates. We also have, quarterly planning. We have diagramming, which of course I use a lot. When I try to also brainstorm with my engineers. So we have, mind maps, customer journey map, pest diagram. These are some of the important ones that I find myself using most of the time. You see, we also have the mood board, right? So these are a bunch of templates. We can't check everything, but this is cool because then we are able to also collaborate with engineers on Figma, right? You see, we have the flow chart. Engineers have their own way of describing processes. Designers also have their own way of describing these processes. But when you have the engineers and designers, collaborate together on a whiteboard, I think it's really productive. It leads to productive results at the end of the day. Okay, so you can also use this, for collaboration during kind of meeting sessions, right? So you see, we have weekly probably product management meetings. I think PM meetings. Okay, so we have yeah. So this is called Lean Coffee. Of course, Lean here is the business framework, and yeah, let's not go into too much business related templates. We would come back to this. So let's keep. Um, okay, let's leave this so we can always have this on new files. So basically, what you see here is, very similar to what you have on Figma, right? I can actually, I can join a conversation if we have multiple people on this file. I can start a conversation and others can join me. I think this is only found in the paid versions, I guess, of Figma. Yeah, so if I have someone else on this file, Amaka, if you can use your second account to join me on this file, that would be great. So we can actually collaborate. We can talk while dropping different items here. We can also drop comments, right? Just the same way you can drop comments on Figma files. Then yeah, we can this is just like a feature to bring up some of these items like cursor charts, stamp, emojis, and high fives. So probably mostly during collaboration, just for fun, right? Fun activities right there. We can zoom in and zoom out, but we don't have any item here. So let's go ahead and drop the sample item. So I'm going to click on this and then bring in a shape, right? So I have a very simple shape here. And then let's assume I'm trying to come up with a site map. So a site map is just a simple map that shows, the flow of pages on your website. So let's say we have Top Universe, for example, websites. Yeah, so what I can do is extend this item because you see the text wasn't showing, right? So I can extend this item. I can also make the text bold, So these are the properties. When you create an element on the FigJam page, it gives you a bunch of properties, the text, right? I have the text right here. I have alignments. I think Amaka is on this page. Okay. Yeah, so I have the text alignments right here. We have if you try to create like a bulleted lists, you can come up with that like bulleted list using this option. So what that means is I can hit the enter key and I have the second item, right? I can also align this properly to one side of this element. So yeah, so basically I'm going to take that off for now and keep this in the center. Yeah, I think we have some people in the waiting room. Please check. Yeah, so I can also create a link, right? A regular link that is clickable. I can strike through this item, and when I mean strike through, this is basically what happens, right? So we can make this item bold, as you can see. Um, yeah, so we can also add the border. Yeah, let's just leave that as none. You can change the color as well. So these are just the properties of this particular element that we've added here, and obviously you can do a lot. Um, and yeah, we're trying to create a simple site map. So before I proceed, let's probably do something with this. So I'm going to reduce the size, and then I'm going to, say that this particular item is, let's do it this way. So the top universe site has, yeah, probably the blog. It also has the, so when I, yeah, plus, so it has like, cohort page, as I'm going to just leave it at this three set of items. So I have the masterclass. Okay. So let's yeah. So you see, you can actually continue to extend, right? And we're coming up with a site map. So it's quite easy. If you're doing this with Figma, you would have to draw a bunch of elements, and the flexibility is not there, as compared to what you have here. And this is very simple. We're still working with a particular element. You can decide to drop notes, so we can say this um, is describing websites. Website, can't spell today. Site map. Okay, so our website site map. Yeah, and it has like with that Figma account. I'm currently using a Macas account, so you see it shows up that name, Design, just to show that, yeah. So this is the user that dropped this particular note, and of course, the note has a bunch of properties as well. You can change, colors. You can change the details on this particular note. And yeah, so this is the signature. So your signature means the author who created this stuff. You can turn it on or off. You can also perform some similar operations here, like bold, strike through, and creating a link or something. Yeah, and of course you can select or add multiple shapes. So these shapes, these are multiple shapes you might want to work with. Cylinder, and a regular square, ellipse, rounded rectangle, and others. And yeah, so we have the hand tool, which is basically used for dragging, right? So I'm clicking on this screen, and I'm trying to adjust or move from one section to the other. You can also do that with your cursor, like what I'm doing right now. I can definitely move without that. But yeah, so just so you know the functionality. So we have the move tool, which basically is what I use in moving these items, right? In moving these items just the way I'm doing it now. Then the hand tool is basically for adjusting, the position of your screen. Then we have the pen tool. It's called the marker here, but within the marker you have a bunch of different, markers. So of course you can, write. This would be better if you're using a kind of like a drawing tablet. But yeah, we can also choose to highlight stuffs, right? You can choose to highlight stuffs to show the level of importance or something. You also have the washi tape. So basically, um, I would say it's just a bunch of designs. Well, you can use this to mark, when coming up with a design. Probably you want to mark something. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to import an image, because yes, you can actually import an image in here. So let's see. If I go to the pictures folder and I go to top universe, let's try to import something. So I just yeah. So I was able to use that particular picture as a tape. So basically it's just like applying using a picture as a pattern, right? But we have other ways to import pictures regularly. Um, yeah, so we have other ways to import pictures regularly. Basically, you can do a drag and drop. Oh boy. Okay, so I just noticed my inverter went off and my battery is quite low. I would have to join this session again with my phone. Guys, let me quickly resolve this. Amaka, please handle the session and probably pause the recording. I'll be back shortly.
Oh, all right, I'm here.
You can ask. All right, so let me open up the chats so that I can see this on a different screen. Okay, so this is FigJam, right? Someone is asking if it's mirror. This is FigJam. I think maybe I am. Okay, probably you might have answered those questions already. Okay,
Okay.
so I'll yeah.
No, where I stopped is Mirror or FigJam, which is preferable, so you can pick it up from there.
Okay. Okay. So we would also, get to talk about Miro. I think one of the major advantage that we've seen with Miro is the amount of templates that Miro has. Um, we also have a bunch of templates on FigJam. I think it was added more recently. Yeah, but yeah. So I think I said the other time that if you prefer to use a single tool for design and collaboration, then FigJam can be a good option, a very good option. But most teams that we've worked with, use FigJam because of the rich amount of features and the fact that you can even have like website embeds, right inside Miro. So you can embed a website and it displays, that website inside the Miro. And yeah, when we get there, at least you will see for yourself and you will make your decision on which option to use. And I said you can also use. So someone is saying. So my question is, if I create a line by mistake, how do I delete it? Finding it difficult to delete. Are you speaking of creating something and then deleting with an eraser? Is that what you mean? So like you create a line and then you. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but let me know. Just to for me. Okay, so I have shown you like the options you have here. So you can use the marker, you can use the highlighter, which we use here. Then this is what we're using to create this tape. And I said you can also add your own custom pattern, maybe from a particular image or something. This option here is basically to set the size of the marker, right? So this is the default size, the thin size, and you can adjust this to use the tick option as well. Um, yeah, so I wanted to quickly show you how to bring in your images before I would show you the rest of the tools here. So let's see. I think one simple option is to probably just drag this in here, right? Okay, so let me get something better. I would get a picture. Yes, right. Okay, this image is quite large. I think um, yeah, so a quick advice. I think it's also nice to optimize your images before moving it into Figma, but Figma would also adjust, the quality of that image to ensure that it's not too heavy for the document. But it's always nice, when you optimize it yourself before bringing it in here, so that your Figma file would not. I think it also depends. It also depends on the type of machine you're using. But of course, sometimes when you have heavy images, it tends to slow down the performance of your Figma file. I know most of us do not really understand details about the computer memory, and we're not going to go into that. But just to give you a quick advice, try as much as possible to optimize the assets that you use for your design, whether you are working in a Figma file or you're working in a FigJam file, because the amount of assets or images or icons that you dump into the particular file will definitely affect the performance of that application. I'm saying this because most people would bring in random items, reduce the quality or reduce the size. Yes. So I'm saying this because most people would just put in a lot of images probably on a page and say, okay, those are my assets. I'm not using them now, but I'll use them later. And then you discover that you have a bunch of images just lying around and you're not using them. Instead, you can create a folder on your laptop and have those assets inside that folder. Then you pick them when you need them. Okay. All right. So you see, I was able to just drag in this image. I hope I answered your question, Chagozie. So you see, I was able to bring in this image by just dropping it in here, and that is basically how to bring in your images. So you have, let's say, you want to work on a mood board, right? Just an assumption. You want to work on a mood board. So I'm going to delete all these items, and I'm not going to, go very deep into trying to get some, assets. Amaka already explained, the idea behind working on a mood board. What I'll just do is open up my browser and bring in some items from, Yeah, I think most times I love to source for items from Pinterest. I'm sure most of you know Pinterest, um, or P interests. Okay, so this is taking some time to load, but basically, I prefer. I decided to come here instead of Dribble or the other option, just for one reason, because I don't want to spend time going through a bunch of things. I just want to search and probably download something, right? So some of the options that Amaka explained earlier, of course, are better options to search for items, because those items are directly focused on UI related items, such as dribble, um, patterns, and the rest of them. For me, let's assume my client says, I want to design a website, where I can sell, food items. I'm going to get probably some image assets for food items, right? Just like what we're seeing here. Or I also need to get sample food related websites. So I'm just going to search for, let's probably download one. Let's probably download one of these first. So I might be downloading this because, the client told me that, you know, um, yeah, probably because the client have to sign in. Man, I don't want to do that right now. So instead, I'm going to take a quick screenshot. So I might be taking this image or taking this screenshot because the client told me that he or she is into um, making this type of meal, right? And that's just my assumption here. Yeah, barbecue. I think was it. Okay, so I'm going to search for food websites, just to get a couple of samples, as designers would call inspiration, right? So I have a bunch of samples here, and I'm just going to take another screenshot. Now, basically, you can download these images and get, a good quality. I am not doing that because I don't want to log into Pinterest right now. So instead, I'm just going to, let's say I like this one. So you see that this one is actually on Dribble. So I'm just checking out here because it's kind of faster. And so yeah, I need to take the screenshots. Okay. All right. So I can continue with this pattern, right? I can arrange a bunch of items, look at the similarities, look at the differences. Also invite my clients right here. By that time we're already done with the research and all that. We already know what the users want, and what we're doing right now is just to come up with something really interesting. Something that you see and you love, something really appealing. Um, Personally don't like it when I see onion like this here. So yeah, but that aside, we have been able to put in some images here. The next thing I'm going to do is to try to do some connections. So I'm going to say we have this simple text. So I'm going to call this let's say food web. Let's say this is the name of our application, and yeah, what I'm trying to do right now is to explore some of these options. So even without bringing in these shapes, you can just do some writings here. So um, these are sample websites. I can zoom in to describe clients uh, the client's expectation of a food web. Okay, so a web food platform. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to move. So you see, you can also move this around, right? So quite straightforward. Um, all right, so that is basically for the text tool. And of course, remember the properties are still there. You can adjust the size. You can set custom size, or you can use some of the presets, some of the templates that you have there. You can also adjust the alignment, right? Yeah, so I believe I explained this already. Okay, so we also have the connector. So basically, how do you use the connector, right? So by clicking on this, you see, when I hover on any element, it gives me a bunch of nodes, right? Some people would call these nodes, some call it edge or edges, but yeah, I prefer to call these nodes, right? Because we can then connect this, you know, um, yeah, I'm going to connect that to another text. I will say Um, we will sometimes this, yeah, we will pick bunch of colors from this from this meal, right? So please, if I am making a mistake, apologies. This is just a very simple example. So now we have this particular item. We're able to use the connector. So the connector is basically used to, like pick. Um, I'm going to try that again. So you see, we can also pick from here, right? Let me connect it right here. Then I'm going to push this item. Sorry, I have to first come back to the move tool, move this item right here. Okay, so what I'm trying to do right now is, just to set up a very simple framework. Um, you can structure this, in any fashion you think you prefer. Um, yeah, I could not take the exact, quality image, but I wanted to show you how you can, generate or extract the colors in here. So there's a tool for that. But I can't, Amaka, can you really remember the exact name? We used to have one in-house tool for that as well, but I think that link is probably broken already. Do you remember the name for the tool where we can import that particular image and then it gives us the colors on that image? Yeah, Coolors. I think Coolors can do that. But there's one other site. I think probably it's Adobe, something Adobe. We'll check that right now. So, but let's start by checking. Yeah, let's connect this again. Okay, so let's check out the Coolors. Okay, so it's possible to actually import the picture. So, clients would always say, oh, I love something like this. I love. So you ask your clients, okay, so what do you really love about this? And they're like, oh, well, the color, the feeling it's giving me or it's giving the users, based on the color palette. I love to have something similar. So it's not like you're going to just use exactly the same thing, but that, yeah. So let's see. Um, can I remember? So I think it's image picker. Oh yeah, I think it's the image picker stuff. Yeah. My network is really poor. Okay, so we can bring in our image. Well, I don't think that image is on our desktop because I dragged it, directly in there. But yeah, we can go ahead to take another screenshot. So that screenshot is going to be saved on my desktop, and then I can bring in that particular picture from here. All right. So by putting it in here, you see it's able to pick all these colors, right? And now we can easily extract. We can add more or remove some, but what we can do is to export this probably as an image. I would prefer to export this as an image. Can I click? Yeah, so I have a full screen here. I mean, there are other options where you can download this. I just love taking screenshots because it's quite fast for me. So yeah, so now I have a color palette, generated from the meal. Yeah, so I can also adjust this, right? This is looking quite huge. So I can adjust this and then probably put in the color codes, right? I can use my text to put in the color codes. Just in case you want the color codes, there are a bunch of tools you can also use for this. For me, the tool I have here on my design tool is, I think I have Color Picker. And I think I also gave a link where you can download Color Picker for Windows users. I think we have JPicker, right? So if you don't have that, please check the Discord server, check your, yeah, I think just to me, you can assist them on how to get those details. So basically, you want to probably pick the colors, right? And I would get to explaining, stamp and the final option, which is widgets, before we end the session. So you can just use these tools to probably pick those images and attach those images in here. So when you have other designers come here, they are already seeing a bunch of details, a bunch of images here. the colors, some kind of linking, or maybe the site map, right? I have some samples, but I don't think I'll be able to share. I have some samples where we have a bunch of things, happening there. What we've done so far is, one of the things that you would do as a designer. But always remember that you also have a bunch of templates to pick from. Let's check out templates again. Oh, I think I almost skipped something. Yeah, so we have two types of connectors: with straight line and also the connector line. Something like this. Um, yeah, so this is basically to arrange your items into sections. So I can group this item, and this is a section. Anybody coming here will know that the items in here are related, right? And we can probably do some other things. You can of course change the property, the background color and all that. So yeah, that's up to you. And that is for section. So section is used to group, items to their yeah, to group these items based on the context of what you happen to be doing at that point in time. So I think stamp, yeah. So yeah, so stamp would give you a bunch of details like this, emojis. I can click on emojis to get more emojis though. So these are just playful. I would say, yeah, just fun related items. And I think maybe yeah, it's called a stamp because you can use it to probably mark something. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't think it's really important to in the context of what we're trying to achieve here. Um, yeah, then let's go to widgets and templates. I think one of the most important parts here is the templates because I definitely use this a lot. As you can see, recent. This is the most recent option I use. Trying to make you understand that so someone is saying, how did you get connector from the image? So I did not get connector from the image, though you can. When you click on the item, see the connector right here. So all you have to do is click on connector, and every single item will have, the nodes, right? So that's what's. And when you mean getting connector from the image, if I get you correctly, the image itself, of course, the picture is not an element, on the FigJam components here. So you cannot get that connector show up the way it's showing up here, if that's what you mean, right? But you can always use this to create a connector. Okay, so for the templates, this is a recent template I used, but that's an engineering template for architecture. But you can also come up with different templates, like a brainstorming template. Can one node connect? So it's node, like NODE. Okay, good. Can one node connect to two or more items? Yes, it can. So I am creating, so this is a very simple brainstorming section where you have multiple participants. You tell them, okay, this is what we're talking about. This is the idea we're trying to talk about here. You go ahead, write down what you think about this stuff, and then you have multiple people dropping different ideas on how to approach a particular problem. And at the end of the day, you are able to look at these ideas, and all of you can make a decision after going through everybody's idea. The reason why this is good is because, of course, you cannot just except you are recording a session. You can actually have a brainstorming session on a call that is recorded. But it's better to always do things like this so you can have a point of reference that is written, right, instead of recorded. So this is an example of a brainstorming section, which we can in turn just put inside a section, right? So quite straightforward. You can always name your section. So this is by default section 2 because we already have section 1. So the same way we're able to create these particular templates, there are a lot of templates in here. So for example, you see we have product team retrospective. I won't talk about this except you have an idea about product management that you would understand this, right? Product timeline and this stuff. So FigJam is not just used by designers, but it can be used by product managers, by software engineers. This is UML diagrams. This is information architecture for those working in contents, right? Those into content creation and web content creation, basically. So you have Gantt charts for those in business. You have stand up, so team stand up for meetings. So of course, for project managers or product managers. So you see, we have a bunch of templates that you can use. You can also search for those templates, right? Then we have what we call widgets. We also call them interactive widgets, and you can use these widget, for example, simple vote widget, to perform activities like, voting. Maybe you're trying to vote for which idea is best. You can use this for that, simple vote. And there are a bunch of others here. We have activity tracker, that you can use to track the amount of minutes or hours that, you've been working on this file, right? You have notes. These are, you have diagramming, organizational charts. These are basically, yeah, so we call it interactive because it is really interactive. So to show you an example, okay, Amaka is no longer on this file though. Yeah, but the idea is, someone can actually come in here, select a bunch of options, and you see, I just clicked on this item. So that's that interactivity, that interaction, that interaction, of course, is here. Um, yeah. So you see, I'm able to check this option. So it looks like a real, uh, yeah. So collecting votes. So I added my votes. Okay, so people can click on this to actually collect, like counts on the votes. If I come back here, we have a bunch of other options. Like we have the activity tracker that I explained, and of course you can just drag this into your. This is a new feature, by the way. Interactive widgets is a new feature in Figma. I think it came out probably not more than a month or two now, I guess, if I'm not mistaken there from the time of this recording, right? So in case anybody is looking at this in the future. Okay, so we also have folder pad. I think it's for developers. I've not really used most of them, but you can explore them. Calendar, right? So these are really great. Widgets are really cool. Okay, yeah. So just check them out. Check them out. Of course, you can also install plugins that would help you, create a bunch of items here, like tiny faces for giving you avatars, right? Illustrations and a bunch of other tools. So that's why I said earlier that we can't really explain or we can't possibly, show you every single thing. But right, as you begin to use this, you begin to discover more things you can do with it. Right? You see, we have a bunch of stickers. You can play around with them. Um, yeah, you can even create a code block, timer, you can upload images, and of course, you can add media links across the web. So I'm just seeing this now. So hopefully, maybe it's already working like Miro, and I'm probably not aware. But let's assume I drop a link, right, like a YouTube link. I'm currently trying to copy a link from my browser, so I'm going to drop that link here. I'm going to click on add. Let's see what happens. All right, so this is great because obviously we can now embed, and let's see if we can play this directly from here.
This
I
is
think,
nice.
yeah, I think this is nice, and I'm just figuring out that we can do this here now because we usually do things like this in Miro, but you know, um, I never expected it was working already. Okay, so I
Figma is giving Miro a run for their money.
I never expected it. Okay. So that's all. That's all for this session. Yeah, we don't have enough time already. I mean, we're already out of time. I would have really loved to, give you like a quick introduction to wireframing. But yeah, hopefully you are able to play around with this, for throughout the day. Take your time and just learn about the various parts of this tool. Right. Remember, you can always share this with friends. You can invite people and then create stuff together here. You can use this for your mood boards. You can use it for brainstorming. You can use it for basic whiteboarding session. As we progress, we'll definitely get to use some of these tools. We'll use these tools. We'll work on sample projects and tasks together. Yeah, hopefully you learned something from this session, and we'll see you in the next one. So that's all from me, Amaka. I think we can close the session already. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all for me. If you have more questions, feel free to drop them on your Discord room and we'll pick it up from there. Have a nice day ahead.
Yeah. All right. So bye, guys, and till next time.
Right, next time. Bye.